Hey everybody, Mr. Morel here, and we're going to talk about triangle congruence. So yesterday we started talking, or last time we started talking about just shapes in general, which shapes were congruent, and we decided that in ninth grade two shapes are congruent if you can do transformations to put one shape onto the other. Rigid motion transformations, not dilations. But if you can translate, reflect, or rotate one shape onto the other, then you know that they're congruent. They're the exact same size. Now we want to focus specifically on triangles. And more importantly, like if you watched in the last video, it was really annoying to kind of mark and show everything on a shape. Like, there were so many markings on those shapes to show that all of the sides were the same and all of the angles were the same. Well, it turns out that with triangles, you don't need to know that every single side and every single angle are the same. If you know just a small amount of information, then you can tell me if two triangles are congruent or not. For most part. Okay. So, the instructions on level 1 say circle all of the acronyms. An acronym is just where we take the first letter of things and put them together. So, like what you're seeing down here, these are different acronyms because they're just single letters that represent a bunch of words. So we want to circle the acronyms that could be used to complete the sentences. So, question 1. If two triangles have the same adjacent blank, then I know the triangles are congruent. So, what we want to ask ourselves is, for example, if two triangles have the same adjacent angle, angle, and angle, so in other words, if all three angles are the same, then do we know that they're congruent? Well, I don't think so, because like we talked about this with dilations before. These two triangles, let's pretend that I could show that all three angles were the same in both of them, have different side lengths. These triangles are similar, but they're not congruent. So I don't think that we want to count this one. Okay? Now, if two triangles have the same side, and angle, do we know that they're congruent? Well, let me see if I could draw an example here. If I have the same side, and an angle, like this, okay? So I did this side, and then this angle. Can I make another triangle with the same side, and angle? Well, it looks like I might be able to do a little something like this. What if I did this? And then this was the old one over here. Sorry, that's ugly. So if this length here is the same as this length, and this length here is the same as this length, and this angle, even though it doesn't look it because I'm a bad drawer, is the same as this angle, but look, we have two totally different triangles. So I don't think we can use that one. But what we learned in class, and I'm not going to draw pictures for all of these, is that if you know that a side and then an angle touching that same side and then a side touching the angle, that's what the word adjacent means, is that they're next to one another. So if a side is touching an angle and is touching the side, if those are all congruent, it turns out that you would have congruent triangles. And I'm going to show you some examples below. Same thing with angle, angle, side. If you have an angle and then another angle and then a side, then we know that they're congruent. Same thing with side, side, and angle, side, angle. And again, I'll show you some examples below. Okay? If two triangles have the same adjacent blank, then the triangles might be congruent, but are definitely similar. Well, it seems like this is what we were talking about over here with angle, angle, angle. If I know that two triangles have all the same angles, then they're similar. They might end up being congruent, but definitely we know they're similar. Question 3. If two triangles have the same adjacent something, then the triangles might be congruent, but they also might not be related at all. Well, I think that's the example that I have right here. Like, it was possible for me to draw this side and to keep that the same, but it was also possible for me to draw something different. Okay? So, Yeah, so I'm going to say that if I know a triangle has the same side, and angle, that they might not be congruent at all. We just don't have enough information to tell. All right. Man, that was a long level 1, but hopefully it'll help us here at level 2. Okay, so here we have examples of triangles, and we're basically putting into play the information from level 1. So what I want to show here is that, okay, I have two triangles and they have the exact same side lengths. Well, in level 1, that told us that we know that they're congruent. So the answer to this one is that I know that these triangles are congruent because of side, side, side. When two triangles have the exact same side lengths, we know that they're congruent. We know that the angles are also congruent, is what that's saying. Alright? Why don't we skip over to number 6? So it looks here like I have an angle, and then next to that angle I have a side, and then next to that side I have an angle. So I have an angle and a side and an angle that are congruent between these two triangles. So looking up at my list, it looks like we know that these triangles are congruent. Okay? So this answer is A. These triangles are congruent because of angle, side, angle. Alright, let's go to the next page. Number 8. Okay. So here I have a side, touching an angle. So I have a side, side, and an angle. Well, kind of like I talked about before, it's possible to maintain this stuff and to get a different type of a triangle. Like, this is not enough information to know if they're congruent. It's possible that we could construct something different. It just kind of depends on what the triangle actually looks like. So I'm going to say that this is not enough information to know that that's going to be a side, side, and an angle example. And again, I just want to point to this picture up here. This picture is a little easier, even though it's sloppier. It's easier to see how I have congruent side, and congruent angle, and I drew two different pictures. Okay, so let's come down here. Well, let's do the middle. So it looks like I'm putting two triangles together. So it's almost like I'm trying to give you some information about these triangles by attaching them to one another. And for example, here, I think it's cool that we know that this side and this side are the same, and this side and this side. But it also seems like because these two things are attached here, that we actually know that those are the same length as each other. So in other words, this triangle here and this triangle here all have the same three sides. And so I think we decided that side, side, side was one of our congruencies. I know that these triangles are the same because of side, side, side. Cool. Okay, well, good luck with the rest of these. You might have to do a little work remembering some properties at angles right here, but I think you can do that. And also, as a reward for watching this video, I tried to give you a hint about this question here on the other side of this, or like the beginning of this video. That Morel, he is so dang nice. We should give him a high five tomorrow if you see him, just to say thanks for the level 4 thought. Okay, well, I hope you guys have such a great day, and that you make good choices, and all that good stuff. Okay, bye!